Hello everyone. Welcome to yet another interview of Behind the White Coat. On this occasion of International Doctors Day, we'll be interviewing some heroes of Behind the White Coat. Today, I have with me Dr. Sarnobat. We'll be having a small interaction with him about the current COVID situation. So let's get ahead with the interview.
Sure.
How are you, sir? How
Fine.
was your quarantine routine?
It is same almost as before. Only thing we have to be more cautious regarding approaching the patients and all. And we are educating the patients here, those who are coming in contacts and all. So more and more patients are getting educated, and people are more confused
Right.
because of all the inputs from print media, digital media and social media now. So they are more aware of the disease also, even for the sanitation and health also.
So, to ask more about you, how was your medical journey? How did you start with the medical college? Was it your dream as a kid, or how did it happen?
No, since my childhood, it's almost in Maharashtra, up to the 12th, PUC 12. Then I finished my graduation and post-graduation here in Belgaum itself, in A.M. Sheikh Homeopathic Medical College. It was my dream to go for this line only, medical, since from the beginning.
Okay.
So I was struggling for this because, to be very frank, I am not that good in maths since from the beginning. So I focused on the medicine. So by God's grace,
Okay.
I was.
So you are living your dream.
Yeah, living a dream, and I am happy for that.
Okay. So how do you suggest people cope up with their whatever psychology effects that they are facing during this situation?
No, basically, the thing is, people are more having knowledge about the health rather than this disease itself. And the second name for this corona, people have understood as a fear. So basically, there is no factor as fear in this corona, because almost 145 to 150 worldwide it is spreading, and in this people are having threats like going for the medias and all, because most of the media, I am very sorry to say this, they are spreading very negative news, like this much deaths took place in France, this much deaths took place in Italy and all. So there is nothing scaring this situation in this, because our government, that's the way we must be proud of Indian government, even for the state government, for working very hard since from the beginning, since from the day one, since this pandemic has started worldwide. So there is win-win situation for everybody, and basically you should be very positive in this. And the mortality rate due to coronavirus infection is very less, because lots of research has taken place when people are facing it very positively. Only thing is, people are very scared of this, that there is no medicine invented as such and there is no vaccine available, but it's very wrong, because the basic treatment part in the coronavirus or COVID positive patients is symptomatic patient treatment what we give, and in homeopathy we have got vaccine in this. Now this arsenical 30. Okay. Which is being dispensed by many of the doctors, like homeopathic doctors. In worldwide also they are spreading this message, and we have got cases treated exclusively with homeopathic also. So there is definitely a positive aspect in this. So you should be very calm, quiet, and don't get confused, and don't run after the rumors, don't spread the rumors, rather, I will say.
Okay. So how are you managing your personal life in this situation where you have to be very busy, I suppose?
Personal life as such, when you become a medico or when you become a doctor, you have to sacrifice your personal life. Like you will be 24/7, you will be on call. So before this corona pandemic also we were 24/7 we were working. Now also all the doctors are working worldwide. So there is no discrimination as this is my professional life, this is my personal life. So being a doctor, you should be aware of all the things, all the knowledges and all the calls. You have to attend each and every call. Whether it is a simple question or if it is an emergency, you have to press it. And secondly, personally you have to be very cool, calm and quiet in facing the situation. Even though if it is emergency or even though if it is a common cold also, definitely patient is going to approach you. So you should not become panic for this. Take maximum precautions from your side to fight this, like using PP kits or mask or getting sanitization and educating the patients. That everything we have to do at our personal level also, at our patient level also. Because no means you can't discriminate a patient. Like this is the patient of a common cold and flu and this is the patient of a corona. You can't discriminate unless and otherwise it is tested and terms to be positive. So every patient you have to get that sanitization or get that personal care regarding yourself also, because you can become a spreading person or you can become a carrier. So you have to be very cautious in this as far as safety is concerned. Thirdly, we do exercise very regularly. That is the one thing. Then we do take this food properly. Take ample of sleep, like whatever is recommended, 6 hours sleeps or 5.5 hours sleeps. That is must that everybody should follow. Thirdly, we have got a vaccine as a arsenical 30 that we have taken for ourselves also. Even we are educating patients also. We are conducting many camps also for the patient to free distribution of this in nearby villages and nearby our locality. Those who are patients coming as a inquiry for this kind of vaccines and all, for them also we are giving very at a concessional rate and all. So usually you can fight in this. That is not a discrimination you can do.
So, talking about the current situation where everything is getting relaxed right now, the lockdown is over and the restrictions are also less current situation. So, what do you have to say about that? Is it enough or do we have to take more care? How can we take more care about it?
See, the one thing is that as long as this pandemic is going on, this kind of situation is going to be there. And it's the thing, like you have to expose to the virus. Because basically it's the novel coronavirus is a new, there is a research is going on, still no action is there in the world in modern medicine and all. So people, once you get accustomed with this virus, like you have to teach yourself to live with this virus. That is the basic bottom line rule, one thing. Secondly, whenever you come in contact with the virus, that antigen antibody reaction takes place in your body. And if your immune system is strong, then definitely you can fight with this virus. The person who goes with this virus down the line is a person who is suffering from comorbidities. Comorbidities in the sense those person who is suffering from diabetes or hypertension or immunocompromised or having systemic lupus erythematosus like disease. Then those who are undergoing for chemotherapy, radiation or post-cancer treatment patients. Those patients are having definitely a threat for this. So we have to take more care of these kind of patients. Then the senior citizens, like 60, 65 plus patients, that for them also you have to educate them very regularly. Then thirdly, the kids, the most exposed kind of locality, this strength you can see. So basically we are guiding the parents also to look after the kids. Then about the hygiene and all, this is going to be a part of your lifestyle hereafter for almost 2 to 3 years. And you have to live with this, like wearing a mask, then getting proper hand sanitization, then don't spit and all this. All these guidelines are given by the government, but very few people are having this in the mind. Now the people are moving like this, I'm wearing a 20 rupees mask means I am a free to move everywhere. It's not that simple thing, it's very difficult thing. If you can get this virus infection, definitely you are going to spread with this spit and all. So whatever the Indian government is going with the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and all, it is a part and parcel of all these things. So stop spitting, then coughing and sneezing, then avoiding social gatherings and all. It's must. social distancing has to be maintained, and this is going to be your lifestyle hereafter for another 2 to 3 years. Another thing, if you have got the infection, if you tested positive, there is no such condition as a panic situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can get admitted in nearby your government hospital. There you will require best of the best treatment will be provided by the government. You will become negative. Once you become negative, the person who has become negative will remain in a carrier state for another 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So you have to be at home. You are going to be in a quarantine. It's not like I am got infected, tested positive, I become negative, means I can't have this condition once again in my life. It's not that condition, because basically it's a very new virus. Still the research is going on. So we can't come in a very strong conclusion that I will not have again this, because there are reported cases in world that are getting reinfected with this virus. So you have to follow whatever is guidelines given by the government now also and hereafter also.
Okay.
So if you stay at home, or if you stay healthy for yourself, you are going to increase more and more awareness with the patients also, even with the common people also. So you have to make up your mind and you have to stay with this. It's not like lockdown kiya hai, means I am going, and if it is open means it's free for everything. No, you can't assume this. Anytime it will succumb to any grave situation.
Okay. So what do you have to suggest to the youth in general or to us rotractors? How can we help in this situation? What can we do as our part?
No, basically as a rotractor, you have got a good chain of system. Like you can spread a message through all your using print or social media or digital media. Secondly, educate maximum people. One thing. Secondly, you have to explain the disease to the common people, because very less amount of the people are having knowledge of this, a proper knowledge I am telling you. Because what people right now they are knowing is just hidden news and the rumors. So what is the truth? You have to explain. It is a job of protractors to go with this banner campaign, or you can give some signboards or something. You can spread some good messages. Well, then the person who is under quarantine or who has come from the isolation ward, you can educate the people what about the isolation. You can educate the people what about the quarantine. What are the do's and don'ts of quarantine? What are the do's and don'ts of corona infected patients? Everything you can explain to person. You can avoid the social gatherings. You can educate the people about emotional this balancing of your mind. Then you can definitely help the people, because now most of the people are losing their jobs and all. So you can give them emotional support by talking to them. You can organize some kind of sessions, like if not this job, another job you will get. And you can help them out with some supplements that are very necessary, because daily wages people, they are working really very hard. Now they are not getting that much amount. The needs are same. So you can contribute in that. Already the government is supporting them, but as a rotractor you can support them. Thirdly, about the hygiene. It is the rule to avoid this. So hygiene at every level, like sanitization, then drinking safe water and all. So this message you can spread to almost in your area, wherever you are staying. That can be done.
Okay. So, like you mentioned about the discharged patients who are in the carrier state still. So, we tend to look at them as maybe we get scared of them to be around them. So, what do you have to suggest about this?
Nothing to scare about this, because this virus will be infected to anyone. Those are immunocompromised. So if the patient, you are going to face the patient, then what about us? As a doctor, daily we are facing almost 80 to 90 patients. So you can't identify the patient that this is the patient of a common cold and this is the patient of corona positive. You can't do. So the basic thing is initially you have to see that that patient itself becomes comfortable with you. Don't discriminate him from your all gatherings and all. One thing. Secondly, he has to take his all the basic parameters, whatever has been given by the guidelines given by the government as well as by the treating doctors. Then there is no need as such like scaring of this. It's not that scary if your immunity is very high. There is no as such like whenever you come in contact. But whatever the social distancing is planned as per the rules and regulations by the science, even by the government, that you have to follow. Then avoid the maximum amount of negative things. Like don't ask that patient regularly how you are feeling now, what you have faced over there, what kind of food you are taking and all. By making him more and more realizing that you are a patient, reminding the patient that you are a patient and we are not healthy and you are immunocompromised. If not, anybody could become this. So you just be friendly with the patient, but keep all the parameters very strictly you have to maintain. Whatever the guidelines has been given by the doctors.
So, like you said, it's going to be the same for 2 to 3 years. Like it has become our new normal. So, if you were to predict how our new normal or routine would be, so what do you have to say about it?
Whatever the situation is going on, it is going to improve day by day, definitely. So you have to be positive for this. And now the people are more aware of this disease. So they are more and more getting knowledge from the sources also, like reliable sources also. So the spread will definitely going to come down. And now it is the curve, whatever it's been mentioned, now it's becoming flattened. Then people are now getting herd immunity in all this. Like the more and more you are getting in contact with these patients, so more and more herd immunity will be there. And slowly, another year or so, this is going to be completely under control. The same thing has happened with the SARS virus when it was there.
Yes.
The same thing has happened with the swine flu. And the same thing has happened with all the other like this plague and all these things. The same thing is happening with this coronavirus also. Because it was there, that time also it was new. Now also this is a new. In a due course, modern medicine people will have some new invention of vaccine and all. And we'll just pray for the God, like it should become accountable for each and everybody. It should not be that costly, like very certain amount of people only will afford it. So just pray for the God that it becomes to that level that each and everybody will get infected. Now, for example, now the polio vaccine. The polio vaccine is almost the same. Now you are a retractor and the Rotary is having tremendous work in eradication of polio from the India. They are working like anything. And now it's almost they have succeeded in total eradication. Hardly you are getting very few cases of polio. And the Rotary has created a marvelous history in eradication of this polio. The same thing you can take this coronavirus also. Educate the people and the victory is there. No problem.
So, have you got any help from the government or any provisions made by the government that has helped you?
Yeah, government is helping all the doctors. Whatever the information is going to be there, they are getting with a single click that is there. Then the government is providing PPE kit for all the government doctors, those who are facing this. Government is providing all the insurance packages and all, whatever is there meant for the doctors as well as for the ASHA workers, as well as for the nurses or whatever, those who are working. For them, the government is taking maximum care. Whatever is done and whatever is to be done by the government, they are doing. It's not like that they are having some limitations and you have to work in this limitation. No. And ICMR is also working getting the test, because if you see the number of tests which was planned by the government in initial phases, like it was like in few hundreds you used to do the cases. Now we are doing 10,000 investigations, or 10,000 tests are being conducted by the state government in a single day. And most of the government hospitals are turned into COVID wards, and people like government has given directions and notifications to all the private hospitals to set up a new ward exclusively for the all the doctors from our fraternity. They are working towards with the government for setting a separate ward. Definitely government is giving all this positive whatever is there.
So what do you have to say about the schools and colleges that have been still shut down? Nothing is started. So what do you have to suggest about it?
No, I think the schools and colleges you can start, but not so soon, because still the curve is to be flattened. Now just it has started, and it is going to take some amount of time to get this herd immunity, or because now the community virus spread is going on. So once you start the colleges and all, then whatever the norms of social distancing is there, it has to be mentioned. It has to be maintained correctly. And secondly, whatever the hygiene is there, it has to be maintained. And we are in a developing countries. We are not that developed country. So you can shift the colleges into like morning shift and evening shift. You can have that kind of different batches and all. You can cut down your portion if you are having very limited amount of time. Like if you are already, if it would be a normal condition, that the schools would have started in this June and May end and all. So now it is going to continue up to the August. So government is planning to discuss all these things after 15th of August. So it may take to September also. So 1/3 situation, 1/3 part of your education is almost there, rested. So you cut down this portion of kids and all the college going students. Whatever is there, you give the notes, printed notes and all. And don't be that stringent with the laws, like you have to go with this exam, then this Viva and all these things. You can take certain measures. You can have different policies for education for in this coming 2 years for all level, like from the KG up to the graduation, post-graduation. And definitely you can fight with this. One thing is that you have to educate the people that you are going to live with this coronavirus for another 1.5 years to 2 years. So it is not like once your lockdown is open, means you have achieved. No. You have now become more responsible. And you have to be responsible hereafter also. Even though the school open in September or October, it is going to be there.
So now the malls and gyms are also open. They're just provided with sanitizers. So do you think that that's sufficient or?
No, if it is a necessary thing, going for a mall or going for a gym is not the necessary thing.
Right.
But schools and all, yes, it's a necessity. So going for a movie or going for a movie theater and mall, then going for gym and all, you can cut down the number, definitely. Now the, certain governments they are going for even and odd dates. So that also can be done. Then people on their own, now they are restricting the social gatherings and all. So mall and all it's a privileged sector it comes. So it is not that like if you go with the malls and if you doesn't go with the malls then you are going to suffer. It's not like that. But school, colleges, it has to be started with all the necessary guidelines.
Thank you so much, sir, especially for your time amidst this busy schedule of yours. And suppose it's as clear as it is to us, to all the audience. And thank you again for your time, and it was an enlightening interview, I'm sure. And I'm also sure that all the points that you have shared is it will make a change, and it has given some extra information to the audience. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.